to a year of eternal love. A Course in Miracles Workbook, Lesson 10. My thoughts do not mean anything. This idea applies to all the thoughts of which you are aware or become aware in the practice periods. The reason the idea is applicable to all of them is that they are not your real thoughts. We have made this distinction before, and we'll do so again. You have no basis for comparison as of yet. When you do, you will have no doubt that what you once believed were your thoughts did not mean anything. This is the second time we have used this idea before. This time the idea is introduced with my thoughts instead of these thoughts. And no link is made overtly with the things around you. The emphasis is now on the lack of reality of what you think you think. This aspect of the correction process began with the idea that the thoughts of which you are aware are meaningless, outside rather than within, and then stressed their past rather than their present status. Now we are emphasizing that the presence of these thoughts mean that you're not thinking. This is merely another way of repeating our earlier statement that your mind is really blank. To recognize this is to recognize nothingness when you think you see it. As and introduce by repeating the idea for today quite slowly to yourself. Then add, this idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. The exercises consist, as before, in searching your mind for all the thoughts that are available to you, without selection or judgment. Try to avoid classification of any kind. In fact, if you find it helpful to do so, you might imagine that you are watching an oddly assorted procession going by. Which has little, if any, personal meaning to you. And as each one crosses your mind, say, my thought about does not mean anything. My thought about does not mean anything. Today's thought can obviously serve for any thought that distresses you at any time. In addition, 5 practice periods are recommended, each involving no more than a minute or so of mind searching. It is not recommended that this time period be extended, and it should be reduced to half a minute or less if you experience discomfort. Remember, however, to repeat the idea slowly before applying it specifically. And also add, this idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. And insights. You see, this is the undoing process. This really will, if hearing this for the first time, I remember when I heard these for the first time, and I thought it was so rudimentary, or, it was the step-by-step, these thoughts, then my thoughts. But you see, we think we're thinking, but we're just performing daily trivia. Some people even avoid thinking altogether. And our beliefs are a repetition of information. And that repetition of information got stored in our subconscious mind. It's the same notion of why we know and answer to our name. We're not our name. That's not who I am. But because it was said to me 1,542 times, I finally answered to the word that was repeatedly said to me, David. I finally turned. I came to realize that's what they finally, they were talking to me. I guess they're talking to me. But you see, the whole point of this mind training, the good news is the past or our beliefs are a repetition of information. The good news is to form new beliefs when we realize and we reevaluate as adults disempowering beliefs that no longer serve us in any way. We can form new beliefs the same way that they got there. A repetition of new information. It's why this course is a required course. It's a rewiring of the mind. We're all here because we learned. We learned fear here. When we were created in the eternal love of God. And then we learned fear here. And if you're brave enough, it's the unlearning and then the relearning. The first half of this year is the unlearning. The second half of this year is the relearning. And the learneth will inherit the earth. You see, the ego will do everything it can. You're going to hear that a lot in this course. The ego, like my mentor, and if you're watching this video, Wayne Dyer is up there. He was always known to sing as ego stands for EGO, edging God out. The ego is the mind's belief that it is completely on its own. The ego's ceaseless attempts to gain the spirit's acknowledgement and thus establish its own existence are useless. And spirit, in its knowledge, is unaware of the ego. It does not attack it. It merely cannot conceive of it at all. But what the funny thing is that we don't get to listen to our higher being, the real us, because the ego has been at the wheel this whole time. It's thinking, it has its own voice. It's not the collection of beliefs. The ego's insidious. It's the one telling you that this whole idea up to lesson 10 is absurd and crazy. It almost seems insulting to tell ourselves all throughout the day, my thoughts do not mean anything. But it's our beliefs that imprison us. It's our beliefs that stand between us and the knowledge of our oneness and the love of God. It is our beliefs that manifest as the images that make our world. And as I said, the good news is that we can change our beliefs because we made them. And the idea that my thoughts do not mean anything helps us to step back from our thoughts, to disidentify from them so that we can become open to recognizing that they are simply the effects of our beliefs. Gradually, we become aware that there is something behind the thoughts of which we are aware. There is a cause, and the cause is our beliefs. And these thoughts will continue to occur as long as we maintain the beliefs. We may hide our beliefs from ourselves and create all kinds of smoke screens to deceive ourselves into thinking that we have no responsibility for what we are perceiving. But it does not change the fact that we perceive as the effect of our beliefs. We see it because we believe it. And as we can step back from our thoughts and observe the beliefs, we are then free to change the beliefs. As long as we hide them, we cannot change them. That's why this inner work is so important. It's why I every day do my personal study, and I read every day, and I read from the course every day and the lessons. That's why I wanted to bring it to you. We have to be spiritually fit. So when the madness and the illusions of the day try to sweep up and control us and make us react, we can just respond and respond with love. Lasting healing comes with changing our beliefs that we could be anything but with the love in which we were created. And the first step to loosen our identification with our thoughts, because as long as we believe that our thoughts are our identity, we will resist changing them. We are not what happened to us. We are not our past experiences. Today's idea offers a gentle tool and loosening this identification. We do not have to believe it. We just have to practice it. As we practice these lessons, it will do its healing work of its own. I've listed on here, if you do not have your own copy of A Course in Miracles, I've listed that in the post, whether you're watching this live with me every morning on Facebook or the replay or on YouTube. I suggest you get your own copy so you can yield even deeper into this. Perform the practice periods today, even if you're not quite sure about this yet. But there's something in you that's drawing you here. Trust in that. There was a pull. I got pulled to this course. It was a divine guidance. I'm so glad that it did. I hope you have an amazing day today. I love you. This is a year of eternal love. God bless.